いや、それは。
Yeah, no, what the hell do we do now? Soujuurou was no longer sure what to do. We can't blame him for that one. Without even the time to mourn his failure, the puppet had vanished out of sight. I'll be of help. Just let me go. Or so he had said, but now he could not follow through. I think he forgot some things.
さて、自分はこれからどうしよ
Alone, he tilted his head in frustration. He went back to playing with the level 1. He spoke into the darkness as if Aoko would be there to answer him. Baka! That very moment, having arrived on the first floor, Aoko quickly understood what had transpired above her. She did not even have to strain her ears to hear the puppet. Even during its heyday, this attraction had never made sounds like the one she heard coming towards her now. It was a sound of despair, as if a horde of monstrous hedgehogs were scraping their way past the mirrors in her direction.
ドジ、3分どころか10秒持たないってどういうことよ。
Nope. Rather than buying her time, Soujuurou had in fact stolen hers. She dreamed of cursing him for failing to fulfill his one job.
複数の足音ってことは2足から多脚に切り替えたのね。
Yeah, I can do that. The echoes made it sound like the footsteps of dozens of feet. To Aoko, it sounded like a giant six-legged spider tearing its way down the corridor. It was little wonder it was so much faster than before. Its perception of its surroundings through echolocation was of particular use in the dark. Compared to sight-dependent humans, this automaton was far better equipped to navigate its way through the labyrinth of mirrors. If it could not keep pace earlier, it was because its bipedal mode of movement was not up to the task. But the stability provided by multiple legs gave it speed that far exceeded that of any human. Yay!
どうするどうするどうする。
Her thoughts spun out as she tried to come up with a plan B. All she knew for sure was this was a pivotal moment. If she continued standing still, she had seconds left at most. Even in her current state, she knew she could easily neutralize the powdered field blocking the entrance without casting a spell. All she had to do was pour a little of her own energy into it. Aoko could sprint with all her might for a little more than 3 minutes. The puppet had more stamina than she did. She could only come up with 3 options. The first was to escape through the exit in front of her. The second was to hide herself somewhere within the far more complicated first floor. And the third was to run into the basement and be stuck like a rat in a trap.
なんだ、考えるまでもない。
She made her decision with zero hesitation, moving her stiff legs again with determined strength. The oncoming storm was almost upon her. Her resolve firm, she turned and ran, descending into the darkness. No matter what, a finale should be glorious. This would be the Mirror Castle's final scene. 2 humans and a puppet. A young sorceress ran towards the subterranean heart of the castle, while an autonomous antique chased its prey into the depths of a demonic dungeon. A minute later, a faint blue charge rippled through the castle. This was the main pillar in the deepest depths of the basement. The pillar itself was not there to support the castle's structure, but it would serve nicely as the symbol into which the girl thrust her fist with all of her magical energy. This was the blow that would bring down the castle. She imagined the scene as she threw the punch, a scene that would soon become reality. It was simple ignition magecraft, meant to release the condensed magical energy engraved into the 4 pillars that formed the foundation of the structure. Using electricity as a switch meant virtually instantaneous activation. Swift and elegant. A hammer of destruction descended upon the castle of dreams that had stubbornly resisted its fate for 2 years. It was almost a joyous sound. And so, the lifeless and abandoned castle of mirrors set the stage for its final and most spectacular performance. Aoko's magical energy became an electrical charge that activated the magecraft formula engraved into the pillar. The chain reaction would lead to the castle's destruction.
ご苦労様。でも、思ってたよりくたびれてたのね。これじゃあ1分持つかどうか。
The plaza in the center of the basement. Aoko tried to steady her breathing while readying her magical quest at full speed. She readied her arms in blue light, fully aware that she could no longer activate the Nara formula. Her labored breathing refused to settle. She stood at the center of the basement. Without being spotted even once, she had managed to make it all the way to the central pillar. It was a 100-meter dash in 13 seconds flat. Undoubtedly a new personal best. She spoke in her wicked heart, knowing full well the fate that awaited her.
入れば追ってくる。地下に行けば逃げられない。当然よね。最後まで逃げ回ろうなんて虫のいい話だった。
Hindsight was 2020. The castle was only a minute away from collapsing completely. If they stayed here, they would both be crushed by the rubble. The puppet certainly did not care. With no love of its own, its sole concern was the elimination of its target, Aoko Aozaki. Indeed, the enemy had been willing to die from the start. She resented her own lack of resolve. It wasn't like her to tuck tail and run from an opponent that didn't fear death.
Vivo insomni, solitare putoresque inferes. Ictius meus obitus dies, et meus nativus dies. Te obeam.
そもそも自爆覚悟じゃないあれ。
I could have just decided to die the moment it was created, though.
六足歩行とフィンの一撃は使いすぎよ。もう呪詛による魔力補給じゃ間に合わない。
Such a perpetual motion device was only as good as its ability to regulate its energy consumption. Using so many functions at once meant it was burning through fuel quickly and losing the ability to process the curses that powered it. It was using up all of the functions it had been given to achieve its aim. This was the pride of a tool. If such things could have ego, those endowed with sentience could never hope to understand. I think I read that a little bit wrong. A beast born to do nothing but run would burn any human who faced its resolve.
ほんと、もったいない。こういう無茶をするのは姉貴だけかと思ってたけど、いるところにはいるもんね。
But Aoko did not intend to sacrifice play here. She respected her adversary now, and she was done regretting her choices. There was no time to waste.
行くわよ。ここできっかり。
Aoko had every intention of paying it back double for what it had done to her. The energy Aoko had accumulated exploded out of her right leg. She aimed for a single thing, a head-on attack. The enemy's response was a curse to crush her heart. A curse that would rend Aoko's heart and destroy itself in the process. As soon as she saw it, Aoko kicked the floor as hard as she could. Her long hair swirled through the air as she flipped aside. This last little move almost sent her tumbling to the ground, but a quick swing of her arm allowed her to regain her balance. A shot grazed her arm, with a curse scorching her left shoulder. She did not flinch. Aoko knew she should hold on as long as she continued to avoid the direct pin shot.
Snap!
Off balance and in pain, it took her half a second to recover. The moment she raised her head, she deflected the attack with a fistful of magical energy.
せーの。
If the puppet had a will of its own, its eyes would have popped right out of its sockets. It would have been floored. Shocked at the strong will that allowed the skill to perform a series of moves like this.
クラック。
Aoko's response was instantaneous. As the music is not helping regarding how creepy this is. While her power was not sufficient to completely redirect the arm's trajectory, it was just enough to deflect it harmlessly past her hair.
Initio eraberamos ton bebimus dolore sunt. Nemo adiuvat, nemo adiuvat, nemo adiuvat.
No. The chant became a curse that robbed Aoko of her vitality. Did it still have something left in the tank? Or was it actually indignant? Whatever the reason, Aoko was easily able to resist its weakened defensive maneuver. Nice.
グライダー。
And her right leg, pulsing with magical energy, shot up into the puppet's chest from below. It was much lighter than Aoko anticipated. And rather, she felt little resistance. An automaton's weight was determined by its internals, the size of its power source. Ironically, it was the superiority of its music box engine that would prove to be its downfall.
Venite, venite, venite. Meam sepulchrum, venite.
The startling curse. Having taken the full brunt of Aoko's kick, the weapon bounced from ceiling to floor, collapsing in a heap. Its internal construction had been warped by the impact, leaving the drum of the music box that powered the puppet warped as well.
恨むなら設計者を恨みなさい。ダイナモの一つでも積んでいれば、もうちょっとは重たくなったでしょうに。で、
Part of that ceiling came crashing down in front of Aoko, stepping her back to her senses.
ところで今、どうやってぶっ倒したんだろう。
She was so stunned by her own victory that she forgot the house of mirrors had already begun to collapse.
こっちのがやばかった。
The There was no time to relish in her victory or pity her opponent. Nonetheless, she might have to meet the same fate. As the situation stood, she found it hard to imagine getting out alive.
急げダッシュだ私
She slapped herself on the cheek and took off. This was her bounty for finishing their battle in a matter of seconds. With her breathing labored without the excitement, she ran for the exit. The collapse was intensifying with the second. Having lost its support pillars, the castle was buckling under its own weight.
この邪魔
Escaping from the basement was proving to be no easy task. While she was sticking the shortest route possible through the maze, she was nearly crushed by a falling piece of the ceiling, along the way. This was the second time. No, third. She had to deal with fallen rubble along the way. She destroyed the debris on the stairs with magic bullets as she ran. The automaton's jamming had long since worn off. The earlier attack had damaged the vast majority of its functions. Her breathing was heavy as she ran. Intensity had sparked her brain into overdrive. And they wondered if Soji was still standing in the same very place thinking about stuff. The ceiling seemed to be collapsing in slow motion. For her, a second felt like 5. Her frayed nerves made it hard to read time correctly. As the light seemed to flash before her very eyes, a light at the end of the tunnel. There was debris riddled through the stairway, forcing her to crawl up to it. She emerged from the destroyed basement into the collapsing first floor. That the plaza was still traversable at all was a miracle in itself. Unfortunately for her, the crucial path to the exit was still intact.
よしついてる
The corridor to the entrance was still intact. The basement maze only extended as far as the plaza, so the entrance corridor wouldn't collapse, or the ceiling would cave in, leaving the scaffolding surround intact. She got herself thus far by telling herself repeatedly that fate would decide whether or not she reached the plaza. Hunger paved off, and it was her lucky day. All she had to do was muster the last of her strength and keep moving forward until she hesitated for a fraction of a second. Was it naivety? A sense of responsibility? She pushed aside the image that popped into her head and continued running down the corridor.
言っとくけど時間合わせの余裕はないわよそんな上等な作戦じゃないしお互いできることをやったら最速で出口に向かいましょう
That was 5 minutes ago. At the time, Soujuurou had nodded with trepidation, and Aoko had not bothered to ask herself why.
何様だっての私今は走ることだけ考えろ
This corridor was giving out too. If she were to look back, she was sure she would see the building collapse again on her. She was also sure she had no time to waste doing so. Her luck was fading fast as the building's structural integrity. It was a small miracle that she had escaped serious injury up to this point, and she could not afford even the slightest slip up. An ankle sprain, loss of balance, even a sneeze would be fatal. A simple pat on the back was enough to end it. So naturally, There it was, clear as day. From the detritus of the stairway, death had arisen to take you down with it. Why would you stay down? My corpse had crawled its way up the depths of hell itself. How would you go back to it? It was still operational. And it was still armed with curses. You had crawled after her, watching as Aoko desperately tried to save herself. The puppet's arm shot forward. While Aoko did not turn to meet it, she could see its reflection in the mirrors.
E salvatio, e salvatio, e salvatio, e salvatio.
Fuck no. Extend. This time she could not dodge it. There was absolutely nothing she could do. The puppet with her face sang.
Venit domum meum. Lut sime somnium.
I think I will decline that. Thank you for asking.
Et pulvere simile quotidiano.
No.
Corprebo. Te judico.
Nah. For a moment, she could not believe her eyes. This was the last thing she expected to see.
しつこいぞお前。
There you are. A fierce expression adorned the face of the boy who had been waiting in the plaza as he smashed the puppet's outstretched arm. Anger really did not suit him at all. His weapon of choice was a fire extinguisher. He must have searched a maze for something to use as a weapon. No, never mind that. It was too crazy to contemplate it. But had he stayed behind? For her?
Shizuki-kun!
Aoko stopped the feet she had sworn to herself she would never stop moving and extended a hand out to him.
そんなのほっといていいから早く
I haven't beaten another damned. That's what it was, why? Soujuurou tossed the fire extinguisher aside and took off running. Pieces of ceiling continued to collapse like dominoes. They kept moving with dust and dirt following in their wake. Their shadows raced through the collapsing corridor with all their strength. Why does that look like a person? Wait, I think it's a siren! Perhaps it wasn't in the throes of death. With a massive crash and a cloud of dust, the final chapter of the fairy tale that had been Ketsuland came to an abrupt end. Right. Oh boy. The duel to the death was over. For a moment, amidst their swirling emotions, all past and enmity was left behind, and the two collapsed in the lawn and basked in a strange solidarity. The ringing in their ears subsided before long. A tremor of such magnitude seemed impossible in an amusement park like this. As the sounds of destruction echoed across the park, Aoko addressed the individual at her side.
ねえ生きてる
No.
うん。
I mean, yeah.
チェ
While the click of her tongue was adorable, the meaning behind it was anything but.
青崎、あいつどうなった？
Why was your class break for a second there? Again?
見ての通りよ今頃バラバラ死体になってるんじゃない
Soujuurou sighed, not wholly relieved to hear frank response. His reason?
でもそんな心配より自分の心配をした方がいいと思うわよしずきくん
Oh yeah, I'm about to be killed. He wasn't out of the woods yet, after all.
青崎、子供の頃はいじめっ子だっただろ。
可逆趣味はないって自負してるけど。それで、今の自分の立場、分かってる？
No, can I go home now? She sat up and smiled. Soujuurou hung his head in shame, wondering why her kind tone and expression were so chilling.
面目次第もございません。
かしこまってもダメよ。あの提案には大前提があったわよね。これは取引だって。あなたが役に立つのなら見逃してあげるっていう。
わかってる。だから面目ないって言ってるだろ。
Soujuurou made a show of avoiding her eyes, like a pouting child. Aoko was taken aback by the sulky display. Perhaps he was angry at himself rather than her. He was not mad because she would not let him go. He was mad that he had not done his part. Aoko sighed for what seemed like a million times that day. She could not figure out what surprised her more: his unconditional kindness, or her naive approval of it.
じゃあ、覚悟はできてるの？
そんなのはできないけど、約束だからな。結局は何もしていないし。
It was certainly the case that he had failed to do any of the things she had expected of him. Just then, she glanced back at the collapsed house of mirrors. What had he done after failing so spectacularly? He had searched for the extinguisher so he could use it as a weapon, and waited patiently in the plaza as the maze collapsed all around him, because he thought it was wrong of him to leave alone. It was a foolish choice, and the exact opposite of her choice to run towards the exit without hesitation.
ま、それでよしとするか。
She was satisfied, even if she was shocked at how naive she was being. It was true that he had saved her. She smiled inwardly, admiring, if only for a moment, the bravery he had continued to show in the face of such extreme circumstances.
役割は果たさなかったけど、アフターケアは合格だし、約束は守らなくちゃね。
But at night, she pulled herself to her feet.
約束は、ま、いつか守ってもらうとして。
The girl tried to keep a straight face as she offered a hand to the boy still lying on the ground.
結果はどうあれ手助けしてもらったし、特別サービスってことで、今夜はもう手を出さないであげる。
So, same place, same time tomorrow?
Huh?
She bashfully averted her gaze. Her profile appeared different than it had in the past. It was clearly still the face of the vibrant girl he met the day he first arrived in town.
何よ。
You? As if she had rolled his eyes on her. Cute. She shot him a frowning glare.
いや、突拍子もないけど、青崎は律儀だなって。
He took her outstretched hand. Feeling his weight as she pulled him up, she could not help but think that he was about the last person she wanted to hear that from.
ところで、今夜はって言うけど、明日からは？
さあ、ま、その時になったら考えるわ。
It will depend on my mood. If it's bad, well, I'll probably kill you in school in front of everybody. And then the rest of the school, because why not? She shrugged her shoulders as if she was not sure herself. The response was so unlike her that it made Soujuurou smile. Was it the solidarity of having escaped together to that? Or their feel of fleeting camaraderie that made him do so? It might have been for this night only, but the air between them was kind and gentle. A lot had transpired, but the midwinter nightmare had come to an end. Right. The bear had overcome many trials and tribulations, and could now leave the mirror realm in their wake. But before that...
随分と身勝手ね。
Hello, Alice.
それはあなた一人で決めていいことだったかしら、青子。
Oh boy. It was the voice of a beautiful singing bird and a merciless machine, all rolled into one.
アリス。
Her voice quivered as she spoke the name. Hello. The lady in black made her presence known. The night was not yet over. Her name was Alice Kuonji. She was a witch whose name struck fear into the heart of Aoko, an avatar of the night, would allow no witnesses. Yay. And before I'll get into this a little bit, I'm gonna check if there's anything new in the archive. Nope. Chapter 5, Night of the Witches, Part 2. The melody stirred an emotion like nostalgia within them. Something once familiar but now lost to this world. They believed beyond a shadow of doubt that it would play for all eternity. From opening stanza to final coda. It was a mysterious siren song, merry yet longing, the herald that returned from dreams to reality. Also copyrighted on YouTube. The night struck. A song was spun. Now, their lost paradise was unearthed. Abandoned dreams. Forsaken idols. The owl responded to the cry of the blue cat. The name of the bell was Diddle Diddle, Banget of the night. All fables made possible, all marvels made real, but the mage cat of Alice Kuonji, more magical than magic itself. I prefer to live in palaces and read them honestly, so
随分と身
bring
勝
it
手ね。
on!
それはあなた一人で決めていいことだったかしら、青子。
Alice sat perched atop the clock tower like a blackbird of El Omen. She smoothed the ruffles of her skirt as if she were preening.
アリス。
There was tension in Aoko's voice as she lifted her head. The calm atmosphere for a moment prior had long since been shooed away by Alice's gaze.
あの子確か
Soujuurou searched his hazy memory. He could not clearly make out her face at this distance, but he was sure he had seen her around town a number of times. Where and when eluded him, however, as the tension in the air kept him from connecting all the dots.
驚いた。随分と仲間思いになったのね、アリス。今夜は私に任せるんじゃなかったっけ？
Aoko raised her guard and took half a step forward. Unconsciously. From an objective standpoint, it almost looked as though she were protecting the figure beside her. Alice's silence grew even heavier. Her eyes fixed on the ground below her were devoid of emotion. An indescribable sense of dread and pressure laid claim over the plaza. They claim
金
if he strained his ears, he could make out the faint ringing of a bell. Clicking in the distance. The rippling sound waves seemed unbelievably to be emanating from under the ground.
なあ青崎、あの子。
黙ってて。
Soujuurou stepped back, trying to stay out of the way. It was as though he had been told to go to hell. For the crime of asking if the girl was Aoko's friend.
そうね。仲間思いに当てはまるかは微妙だけど、良くない予感がしたから様子を見に来ただけ。別にあなたの仕事を疑ったわけじゃないわ。
それはどうも。どうせならもう少し早くその良くない予感とやらに気づいてほしかったけど。でもま、ご覧の通り自己解決したわ。夜も遅いし、さっさと帰っていいわよアリス。私の仕事っぷりを疑うわけじゃないんでしょ。
Their eyes locked on one another. Alice's stare was uncomfortably cold. Aoko's was bold, daring Alice to air her complaints.
いえ、気が変わったわ。せっかくだし二人で帰りましょう。その方があなたらしいわ。帰りしな、人形の話でも聞かせてちょうだい。
はっ、らしいって何よらしいって。いいから帰れ帰れ、ぐうたらアリス。部屋に閉じこもって役に立たないムクドリでも作ってろっての。
A disappointed sigh escaped Alice's delicate lips. It seemed that the black-clad girl was more astonished than angry.
青子、口にしたくないけど、本気？
Are you seriously going to insult my birds? Quietly, Alice questioned her roommate of nearly 2 years.
呆れた。二人で秘密を守ると言ったのに。まだ半端にそっち側なの？それとも情でも移った？
別に情っていうより私の気分よ。だいたい方針なんてその場その場で変わるもんでしょ。気分ならなおさらよ。そっちこそ一度した約束は絶対守るなんて時代遅れなんじゃない？
The proverbial knives were out now. No quarter was given, no quarter taken. Sadly, their partnership was... So the partnership was one of comedians, and had not reached a level of mutual understanding. Their version of friendship was both delicate and unique. When a conflict of opinion arose, each would refuse to budge until the other crumbled. Neither was concerned for the other's plight, and at least for now, that was how they liked it.
そうね。今の暴言はあなたらしいとは思うけど。
Once again, she let out a sag, even larger than the one before.
言い争いは後にしましょう。そこの彼をいなかったことにするのは私だけで十分だし。
Finally, she struck straight to the point. As if making to move a chess piece, Alice lifted her cider finger. I'm not covered in sauce. Even this simple action seemed mysterious to Soujuurou, the same boy who had been hunted by his classmate Aoko Aozaki and born witness to an automaton. Aoko's violence in an animated doll. Though perhaps far beyond the realm of logic, both these things were derived from reality. As surprised as he had been, there was no need to think of them as subtle mysteries. When the thing appeared out of thin air from a seemingly unrelated gesture, he had no word for it besides Soujuurou stood motionless, captivated by this strange performer's magic trick, as the girl's single-finger magecraft turned into an attack directed at him. A blue light flew from the set to repel it, annihilating it without a trace.
やば。
Aoko immediately regretted her reflexive shot.
どういうこと？約束を曲げただけじゃなく、ルールまで破るつもり？
The already chilled midwinter air plunged below freezing. Alice looked calm and collected on the outside, but in reality she was sometimes even more cold-blooded than Aoko. Especially when it concerned her familiars. Accidentally destroying one often would result in a week of silent treatment. But maliciously destroying one, Alice would reserve the right to retaliate without fair warning.
あっちゃー。いつかやるとは思ったけど、ついに逆鱗に触れちゃったか。
Though Aoko was shocked at the depth of her own stupidity, she also was in fact a little bit relieved. She did not intend to make any excuses, and she had no regrets. If she had broken the rules, then so had Alice.
青子。
なんていうか。
If anything, this took a load off her mind. After all, now there was no going back. Aoko never intended to break her own rules. If there was anything for Aoko to regret, it was putting too little power into her shot.
私的に今夜こいつに死なれるのは困るのよ。なんで日を改めて殺しに来てくれないアリス。いいでしょ？たった1日ぐらい。
Taking on a pro bono case in the defense of suspect's ass was a socially acceptable thing.
それは市場？
悪い？一宿一般の恩義って割と大事にしてるの、私。
私との協定より。
ええ、時と場合によっては。
Soujuurou's human rights had not yet entered the argument. The girls were busy pouring oil on each other's flames. The girl clad in black was the first to move, or rather to erupt.
そう。よくわかったわ、青子。私は彼をここで殺す。あなたは彼をここだけ生かす。つまり私と戦うということでいい？
そんなのいいわけないじゃない。
Aoko bet back to her retort. She was very familiar with Alice's magecraft, and knew painfully well how many mystics were hidden in Alice's tiny body. The odds of victory were essentially non-existent. And once their first shot had been fired, Alice Kuonji was without mercy. Whether facing a roommate or a friend, a most beloved family member or a stranger. Once Alice began to fight as a witch, she became a heartless, unflappable monster. Aoko advanced another half step forward as if to encourage herself. It was too late to back down now. The situation was no longer a trivial quarrel over a witness. The bedrock of their so-called friendship had nothing to do with their individual abilities, but everything to do with being equals and well. That is why, in order to see through to herself, Aoko had no room for compromise or deception.
もちろん、あんたを殺すことになっても、そこのバカは生かしきるわ。それに。
Her magic took its howl as she kicked into gear. Her body, which had mostly been dormant during the battle with the puppet, ignited, preparing to demonstrate its true worth.
それにどのみち最後には殺し合う仲でしょ私たち。
Her courage overpowered any fear she had for her opponent. Tuning her body, her magic circuits, to become like a barrel of a gun, Aoko fired the magic bullet. It was an exceedingly basic magecraft formula. There was no natural interference, no creating of wind, parting of water, or hastening of decay. It was simply the process of converting the imaginary action known as magical energy into something real before releasing it as heat. This Aoko's destructive power was equal to her supply of magical energy. The magic bullets she had used against Soujuurou were among the most basic single-action magecraft that did not require an incantation. At her present ability, Aoko's main mode of attack, her magic bullet, could be fired at 3 levels of power. These were at the 2nd level. This required a double-action magecraft, a casting through activation of her quest combined with a simplified incantation. However, without blinking, Alice dispersed the shot that Aoko had mustered all her spirit of fire. To fire. Aoko did it in frustration. A swift sneak attack. Magecraft that used a simplified incantation would not be enough to break Alice's guard.
相変わらずお堅いこと。そのから一段と独りよがりになってるんじゃない？
Aoko provoked Alice in order to disguise her own lack of composure. Somehow Alice seemed delighted by Aoko's bravado.
売り言葉に買い言葉というやつね。こういう勢いだけのきっかけは初めてだけど。驚いたわ。こんなくだらない理由でもその気になるものなのね、人間って。
Excessively proud of oneself. Alice giggled. Smiling with heartfelt amazement, Alice gestured her left hand towards the earth. What about it? Oh. Zap, 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 zap. Countless utensils shot out from underneath the cobblestones paving the plaza.
しずきくん、後ろに飛んで。
Why? She grabbed his hand as she shouted, jumping backward before he even had a chance to respond. As if they had both thrown, the utensils that had suddenly appeared from the ground gave chase. As the barrier of spirits grew around them, Aoko and Soujuurou put some distance between themselves and the clock tower.
これで終わり？
Just under 30 feet stood between them and Alice. The little weapons that had crumbled to stone beneath them fell short of what Aoko had anticipated. They now encircled the clock tower, making the scene look like the burning of a witch at the stake.
普通逆じゃない。ここは私たちを逃がさないよう槍で周りを囲むものでしょ。
The path behind them was safe. If they wanted, they could try to make a break for the main gate and escape.
いいのアリス。悪いけど逃げられるなら逃げるわよ。私。
If she could just make it back to town, it would be Aoka's win. All she wanted to do was let Soujuurou get away for the night. So if she could get him back to the city, it would be, for the most part, mission accomplished.
Huh?
Or so she had thought. Without even offering a glance at her targets below, Alice carefully and lovingly pulled out the bottle from her pocket.
緑のフラスコ？
Yep.
あれって確か。やば！とにかくファイヤー！
Her shot was deflected with ease. Ganmat Aoko's earlier bravado. It was only natural. Aoko had indeed grown as a mage. Over the last few years of study, her studies had progressed well. And she did more or less gotten a grasp on her roommate's tendencies and abilities. Thus, they had made her conceited enough to believe that, under favorable circumstances, she would be able to show Alice a thing or two in a fight. Alice uncorked a magical bottle. A gentle breeze caressed her cheek. Little fled as a new player stepped onto the stage. But from where would it enter? The sound of footsteps, a nostalgic parade approached. Unfortunately, it was true. Now I can finally and truly have a nice date. This was a miracle that Aoko Aozaki, the previous mage, had never witnessed. The dead came to life. The inanimate awakened. The woods were enveloped by the mists. Fire-breathing lizards lived in the swamps. Puppets made merry at midnight. Alice Kuonji's slender fingers had transfigured the entirety of the park, as if gently stroking the back of an elderly cat.
いいわ。ごっこ遊びをしましょう。青子。
For one night, a whittle of dash hopes and dreams was restored to his former glory. It was an immortal monster ready to devour reality. A dark fairy tale that, once unleashed, would never let its prey escape.
逃げられるものなら逃げてみせて。どこまで行けるかわからないけど、この夜を越えることができたのなら、あなたの勝ちにしてあげる。
Her declaration marked the start of a desperate battle. The witch in black laughed at her friend. A musical mirth filled with affection, sadness, and innocent delight. Faded glory returned to Ketsuland. Oh boy. The neon glow of innumerable lights illuminated the night. Speakers filled the air with the sound of vinyl music. Merry-go-round, small and large, whirled round and round. All in all, it made for a mind-bending spectacle. It was certainly possible to power the facilities by transmuting magical energy into electricity via alchemy. That said, simply supplying the park with electricity would not have brought back to life that which was broken. The young woman did this not by mixing chemicals into a compound, but by melting down divine providence into a witch's brew.
まずいわね。アリスのプロイは何個か見てきたけど、今回のは桁が違う。セット。
Sibling and anxiety, Aoko fired up the crest on her right arm. The magic circuits were a mage's engine. Then her crest was software that assisted her magecraft. For the fledgling mage Aoko, this was her trump card. All she had to do was supply magical energy to her crest-based formula. It may not have been the strongest magecraft, but it was hers. prove that she was the successor of the Aozaki lineage.
講師2層直流数門
The pattern of her quest shifted to execute the formula, which then connected to her magic circuits. The process resembled trains changing rails, a puzzle involving dozens of circuits. She constructed it as swiftly as possible without sacrificing the quality of its construction. Instant Mage got cast without an incantation would not be enough to reach Alice Kuonji. Aoko had gauged the strength of Alice's defense with her initial shots. She would dial up the power 5 times the next time, driving 20 tons of force into her target. Alice had the protection of the thick, hanging fog and the dense barrier around her. However, this attack would be more than enough to pierce through both. If Aoko struck home, at best it would cave in Alice's chest and end the fight. At worst, it would at least knock Alice down from her position atop the clock tower.
そろそろいいかな
Yes, and the back. As always, there was one guy who spotted deadly tension, pulling Aoko out of killer mode. Soujuurou had been looking back and forth between Aoko and Alice in confusion.
それでどういう話になったんだ
Catfight? To an extreme? Also, we're gonna be playing house. Actually, the whole carnival. It sounded like you might ask for directions to the train station. Normally, she would have lashed out screaming in response, but its entirely serious tone shocked her more than it angered her.
信じられない慣れてきた私
Yep. Aoko sewed back a sigh and returned her focus to activating her crest.
交渉は決裂ちょっと怒らせすぎたあの子から見ればまあいい機会だし遊園地ごと私を亡き者にしようって腹ね
Soujuurou tilted his head as if begging for a simpler explanation.
私割とあの子に恨まれてるから捕まったが最後どんな風に殺されるか想像すらできないわ要するにあんたも私もあの子をどうにかしないと生きて帰れないってことよ
そんなとばっちりだ
まあそういうことになるかもね
Soujuurou protested in a tone. This is beautiful. Protested in a tone wholly inappropriate to the situation. Aoko let the nerve blast slip from her right arm. She was not aiming at Soujuurou though. A little earlier today, and Aoko would have been happy to do exactly that, but now, her attention was focused on the girl in black atop the clock tower. She could hardly grasp the situation amidst her astonishment. Horses! She fired the strongest, fastest magic bullet she had the ability to conjure, and Alice blocked it. It was to be expected. And Alice had her mind to defending herself, such an attack was child's play. But what just happened? Something she had never seen before had leapt to Alice's defense. A team of horses? A plague of locusts? No, those things existed in this world, unlike what Aoko had just witnessed. Normal creatures could not form like a spontaneous cloud of fog and then dissipate just as quickly into the night sky. Impossible things moved in impossible ways. Alice was not even supplying them with any power source. Those things never needed power in the first place. Those broken and discarded things did not follow the rules of mankind. This was an invasion of fairy tales. Except for that one. This one came straight out of an abyss. Compared to them, the automaton looked merciful. Autonomous puppets were products of magecraft, but even then they behaved as puppets should. These newly animated things, however, were nothing of that sort. And the vessels became living creatures. Babies warped into malformed beings. There was a fog so dense with the magical energy, it basically spread to all corners of the park. Bringing with it a monstrous welcoming party that easily numbered over 1,000. Spurred down by the shuddering sensation running down her spine, Aoko fired a barrage of single-action magic bullets. Her impulsive attack scattered futilely. The knights of the merry-go-round soared into the sky. Green fire-breathing lizards flocked. The bakers opened their doors once again, and human-sized loaves of fresh bread marched from their ovens as platoons of newly baked soldiers.
Aozaki, 後ろ!
Aoko and Soujuurou were completely surrounded. The Ferris wheel creaked as it gently turned. A rickety train car raced about the roller coaster tracks with Kitsy, tears streaming down its face aboard. It was a grossly twisted fantasy. The girl in black reigned over the insanity-fueled park. Oh, now we're screwed. Aoko was transfixed by the scene unfolding around her. Then she realized what was happening.
そうだ、これは。
Alice had once told her of monsters' familiars. Among them were three of particular notoriety. One of which she recalled being capable of something similar to this. And it was called...
プロイキッシャー、フラットスナーク。
青崎、だから後ろ!
Yeah. Beware of the hellish hordes. Please. Struck by Aoko's bullets, the creatures exploded into splinters. It was clear Aoko's shots were becoming more powerful. But it was also the case that these beings were less robust than your average automata.
しずきくん、こっち。
Aoko turned away from the clock tower, grabbed his hand, and began to run.
青崎!
ごめん、これ無理。逃げるわよ。
逃げるってどこに?
どこって、とにかく行けるところまで。
She shouted as though trying to persuade herself that she valiantly cleared the path. Aoko's magic bullets flew like a scream, blowing away the creatures that stood in their way, or rather, simply gathered around. She made a hole for them to escape through. Oh boy. And on that note, we can end the episode here. Oh golly. I'll see you in another episode real soon.